Greetings from Amera Astronomy Center and Jordan Planetarium at the University of Maine. My name is Sean Lodge, I'm the Planetarium Director, and I look forward to sharing some of the beauty and wonder of our universe with you. This is our virtual sky tour number 7 and astronomy update for the week of May 22nd through 28th of 2020. We're going to get started by taking a look for Comet Swan, which is visible in evening twilight. This comet might reach naked eye visibility next week, and it is a really spectacular sight in binoculars. Now, you want to start looking for it as soon as it gets dark over in the northeast, and right now it's in the constellation of Perseus, very low on our northeastern horizon. It's going to be moving towards the direction of Capella in the constellation of Auriga over the next week. And really next week, Wednesday or Thursday, probably your best view of that comet in our sky. Binoculars will definitely help, as it will make it a little bit easier to see, but again, it may reach naked eye visibility next week. The images over on the right hand side of the screen are two pictures of this comet. The first one was taken at the top of your screen on May 8th from the southern hemisphere and shows a very long and distinct tail. The one below was taken on May 20th and shows a distinct green color. So again, do take a look for this comet, which is the brightest we've had in a number of years, visible in the northeastern sky at sunset. Well, moving on from there, we're going to head towards a discovery of a new planet in the constellation of Auriga. Astronomers using the Very Large Telescope in Chile, part of the European Southern Observatory, believe they have viewed the first glimpses of a new planet in formation. Now, for a long time, we've known of exoplanets, planets well beyond our own solar system. But in this image, what you're going to be seeing is a picture of a solar nebula, basically the gas and dust around a star where new planets are forming. And this is the first time astronomers have seen this, again, around an exoplanetary star formation. So this orange area is that solar nebula, and inside of it we're going to have a chance to take a look at some of that planet formation in action. This is the nebula that we see right here, and zooming in we're seeing this sort of twist, if you will, or knotted area, and it's believed that that is where that planet is forming around this star. Now, to give you an idea, this circle of area here, this dark area, is the area around the star that's about the distance from our sun out to Neptune. So again, this is the early formation of a planet around another star. It is quite exciting news in the constellation of Auriga. Well, from planets and formations to a parade of planets, this week is a chance to see all 5 planets to the unaided eye, so do take a look for them if you have a chance. Tonight, you're going to have a chance to see Mercury and Venus over low in the northwestern area of the sky, and those 2 planets are in conjunction. Venus is exceptionally bright, and tonight's a great chance because Mercury will be right next to it in the evening sky. Now, you can easily see this with your unaided eye, but binoculars will also help with this if you have a pair. On Sunday evening, the pair is going to be joined by the moon, which is going to string out across the sky, a short distance there, but you'll see Mercury, Venus, and the moon all in a beautiful line. Do check out these planets in early evening twilight. I would say start looking for them around 8:30, and by 8:45 you're going to have your best view. After 9 o'clock, they will have set below the horizon. This week really is the last chance to see Venus before it is lost in the glare of sunset, so do check it out while it is still possible. And in our morning skies right now, we have the planets Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter in a line. Jupiter is the 4th brightest thing we see in our sky and is going to be almost directly south around 4 a.m. and Saturn right next to it. Those 2 very bright and easy to see. And Mars over to the southeast has a distinct reddish color. I hope you have a chance to see all 5 of these planets visible to your unaided eye. We're going to switch over to Stellarium now and take a look at some more things visible in our current night sky. We are starting off with Stellarium here tonight at 9 o'clock p.m. and at this time you're going to see Mercury and Venus, which we talked about earlier, just barely on that horizon over in the northwestern portion of the sky. So we can take a look for those 2, and if we bring our pointer here into view, you'll see again, right here, very low at the horizon. So unless you have a perfect horizon without any buildings or trees, this may be a little bit more challenging for you to spot. Now, the reason I wanted you to find those two is right above it tonight, we have this constellation known as Auriga, the charioteer here in our nighttime sky, which is a pentagon shape of stars. And I'm going to go over and highlight the star Capella for just a moment and draw in that constellation so we can see that pentagon shape there. One of the reasons I want you to be able to find this group of stars is because as we go a little bit later into this week, you're going to have a chance to use it to help you find Comet Swan. So let's do that. First off, we needed to get a little bit darker, so we're going to set time into motion here, and we're going to speed things up a bit and take ourselves to about 9:30 or so tonight. And by that time, the sky is going to be through twilight and actually completely dark. So here we are at 9:30 this evening. And as we take a look now, we're going to swing our view of our sky around here a little bit. And I'm going to turn all the way till we're sort of facing northwest and sort of north as well. And in this sky, Comet Swan is now starting to become visible. So right here, it's going to be low on our horizon right now. It actually is in the constellation of Perseus, this hero-shaped group of stars through here, which kind of has this curlicue shape. Now again, this is going to be right at the end of evening twilight. Binoculars really are your best bet to try and find this comet. Now over the next week, the nice thing is it is going to be heading towards the direction of Capella. So by the end of next week, it's going to be right next to Capella here in the sky. So again, do try to catch it with your unaided eye, and binoculars really will help when trying to find this group of stars. Well, let's now move towards the south a bit. So we're going to rotate our view of the sky here, and we're going to keep doing so all the way until we bring south into view. So here we're facing now the direction south, again around 9:30 in the evening. I'm going to zoom out a bit here because one of the things that I want to be able to do with you is actually show you a broader view of the sky than we normally have been looking at. And one of the reasons I want to do that is I really do want to kind of use the sky in a broader context to show you some things. I'm going to turn off that Capella constellation there so we have a nice just view of our sky. And here we're seeing actually a broad view of the sky almost from east to west as we're facing the direction south. And high overhead we're seeing some things as well. And what I want to do is give you a broader tour of the spring skies. And finding our way around the spring skies is really easy because if you start with one of the brightest groups of stars in the sky, this group, which is going to be right up here, the Big Dipper. The Big Dipper really can help you find a number of things in your springtime skies. So 4 stars mark up the bowl of the Dipper right there. 3 more mark the handle, and it kind of looks like a pot or pan that you might have on a stove at home. It's part of a bigger group called Ursa Major, the Great Bear, which is right through here. There's sort of 3 stars out in front that mark the head of the bear. The front legs come down like this, the hind legs curl around here, and that handle makes up the bear's tail. And in fact, if we were to mark one of the stars in that group, we can turn on the constellation there of that Great Bear, Ursa Major, or the Big Dipper. Well, the reason I wanted to show you that is if you can find the Big Dipper, it really will help guide you to most of the springtime constellations. In fact, we can use the handle of the Big Dipper to arc. And if we sort of follow the curve of the handle, we're going to make an arc to the bright star known as Arcturus. Arcturus is in Boötes, the herdsman or the bear chaser, right up here. Sort of looks a bit like a kite that we might see flying in the spring skies. This is sort of the bottom of the kite, and here are sort of that diamond-shaped pattern to it. And some folks would say a nice little streamer down below. Now, some folks also call it an ice cream cone. Here's kind of the cone of the ice cream and a scoop of ice cream right up at the top there. But that is, again, Boötes, that herdsman or bear chaser. And if we mark one of the stars in that group, Arcturus, as it is, we can draw in that constellation too. So again, you follow the arc over to Arcturus in Boötes, that herdsman or bear chaser. He's supposed to be a shepherd chasing that great bear away from his flocks of sheep. Well, coming back, we can, of course, use that Big Dipper and continue. If we follow that arc to Arcturus, then we're going to drive a straight spike down to Spica. So we arc to Arcturus, and we spike to Spica. Spica is in Virgo, which we've talked about before. She is the goddess of fertility. And the star Spica represents a grain of wheat she's holding in one hand. This is sort of her head up through this area. One arm extends out this way, the other arm down to Spica, which represents a grain of wheat. And then she has a long flowing gown down through here. So the constellation of Virgo there. And we can also mark up one of the stars in Virgo and show her there. So now we have arcing to Arcturus, spiking to Spica, and you can see Boötes in Virgo as some of those constellations. If we were to draw in some of the figures of those constellations there, you see that bear with the long tail. You can see his tail sort of points you to the bear chaser or shepherd, and then to beautiful Virgo down below. Well, these are some of our main constellations of spring. We're not done, however. We can still use the Big Dipper to find another group here in our sky as well. So if we come back to that Big Dipper, use these 4 stars in the bowl, we can imagine them as a bow and arrow. We pull our arrow back and we're going to fire it. It will come down and land right here. The bright star Regulus marks the heart of Leo the lion. A backwards question mark through here is the head and mane of that lion. The rectangle represents the body, and Nebula marks its tail. And Leo to me has always looked like a mouse with a curly Q tail, and if we draw it in there, you can see that sort of mouse with its nose sort of highlighted right now. The star Nebula marking the nose, which is the tail of Leo the lion. Well, those are the brightest of the springtime constellations. And if you find the Big Dipper in your night sky, you can always use it to find something else. We draw a line through the Big Dipper's first 2 stars, those pointer stars, and they're going to point us up towards the North Star. Now to see that, we're going to have to sort of bring our sky down a little bit more here so that we can get more of that sky in. And now we're going to sort of bring it down all the way until we see sort of the north there, at the which would be at the very top of our screen right now. And the Big Dipper sort of in the middle of our sky. And with that Big Dipper, we can bring our pointer back here into view using those first 2 stars of the Big Dipper in the pointer. Draw that line, and we will come all the way up here till we find the North Star or Polaris. And from there we can find the Little Dipper, which is fainter and a bit more challenging to spot in our nighttime sky. Well, that North Star, a very important star, it marks again the tail of the Little Dipper, or Canis Minor, the little bear, there in the evening sky. And so now we have those constellations drawn in. That little bear pretty much needs a lot of imagination to see it, as it really is hard to see a bear. It looks more like a spoon or a ladle in my estimation. Well, these are the stars of the spring season, the season we are currently in. I do hope you get out this week, take a look for Comet Swan, see Mercury and Venus in your nighttime sky, and Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn in your early morning sky. Thanks so much for joining us here at Amera Astronomy Center for our virtual online sky tour. We hope you keep looking up. Have a great week.